Golden Bachelor. Taylor Frankie Pohl has never been the type to play it safe, and the moment she stepped into the spotlight as the lead of The Bachelorette, everyone knew this season would feel different. From the very first glimpse of her journey, one thing became clear. Taylor isn't here for games, confusion, or half-hearted effort. She's here for something real. And when she stunned everyone by taking a rose back from a contestant, it wasn't just dramatic, it was a statement. Taylor Frankie Pohl came into this experience carrying more than just excitement. She came in as a mother of three, a woman who has lived, learned, and grown through real-life love stories and heartbreaks. She's not stepping into this world wide-eyed and naive. She understands commitment, she understands responsibility, and most importantly, she understands her own worth. That's what makes her season of The Bachelorette so intriguing. While many leads in the past have tried to keep the peace, avoid tension, and carefully navigate every rose ceremony, Taylor is doing things her way. She has made it clear that if something feels off, she won't ignore it. If someone isn't genuine, she won't pretend not to notice. And if she senses that a connection isn't rooted in honesty, she won't hesitate to act. In a newly released preview, viewers watched as Taylor turned to host Jesse Palmer and said she wanted to take all the roses away. Not one, not two, all of them. It was bold, it was unexpected, and it instantly set the tone for what could be one of the most unforgettable seasons yet. You could see it in her expression, calm, confident, and just a little bit mischievous. This wasn't chaos for the sake of chaos. This was a woman protecting her journey. And then came the moment that had fans replaying the clip over and over again. Taylor reached out and physically took a rose back from a contestant. The room shifted. The men stood there, unsure whether to be nervous, impressed, or completely stunned. A rose on The Bachelorette represents possibility. It represents staying. It represents hope. And in one graceful but firm motion, Taylor reminded everyone that those roses are hers to give and hers to take. It wasn't cruel, it wasn't impulsive, it felt intentional. For years, viewers have watched contestants try to outshine one another, deliver perfectly rehearsed speeches, and promise fairy tale endings. But Taylor doesn't seem interested in fairy tales. She's interested in partnership. She's interested in a love that feels steady, passionate, and lasting, not performative. And let's be honest, there's something refreshingly attractive about that. She's funny, too. Throughout the preview moments, you can catch her playful side shining through. A raised eyebrow here, a teasing smile there. Taylor has always had a personality that balances boldness with warmth. She can call someone out and then laugh about it 5 seconds later. That combination keeps everyone on their toes, including the men hoping to win her heart. What makes this even more compelling is her role as a mother. She has spoken openly about wanting a partner who understands that her children are not just part of her life, they are her life. Whoever stands beside her won't just be dating Taylor, they'll be stepping into a ready-made world full of laughter, responsibility, and love. That raises the stakes in a beautiful way. The men competing this season aren't just auditioning to be a fiancé, they're auditioning to be part of something meaningful and lasting. And Taylor knows that. That's why she's not wasting time entertaining anyone who isn't fully present. When she took that rose back, it symbolized something bigger. It symbolized boundaries. It symbolized standards. It symbolized self-respect. And fans are here for it. Social media quickly lit up with reactions praising her confidence. Many viewers expressed excitement about seeing a lead who refuses to tolerate drama. Others admitted they were shocked but intrigued, and some simply said what everyone was thinking. This season just became must-watch television. Host Jesse Palmer even hinted that this journey would be unlike any season before. That's a bold statement considering the long history of The Bachelorette. Yet watching Taylor's decisive move, it's easy to believe him. She isn't trying to replicate anyone else's love story. She's writing her own. Romantically, this opens the door to something deeply satisfying.
Imagine the kind of love story that unfolds when the lead refuses to settle, when she demands honesty, when she expects vulnerability, when she rewards sincerity and quickly removes anything less. That kind of environment doesn't just create drama, it creates clarity. And clarity can be incredibly romantic. Picture a quiet moment later in the season. The cameras fade into the background. Taylor sits across from a man who has proven himself steady and sincere. There's laughter. There's eye contact that lingers a little longer than usual. There's the realization that all those bold decisions earlier in the journey led her right here, to someone who sees her fully. That's the magic viewers are hoping for. Of course, it wouldn't be The Bachelorette without a little chaos along the way. Strong personalities, competitive energy, and emotional conversations are inevitable when multiple men are pursuing the same woman. But with Taylor at the center, the dynamic feels different. She's not overwhelmed, she's not uncertain, she's steering the ship. And that confidence might just inspire the men to show up differently too. Instead of flashy gestures, they may need to offer sincerity. Instead of dramatic declarations, they may need to offer consistency. Instead of competing loudly, they may need to listen carefully. Because Taylor Frankie Paul isn't looking for the loudest voice in the room. She's looking for the most genuine heart. The premiere date is approaching quickly, and anticipation continues to build. Viewers are eager to see what led to that rose being taken back. Was it a comment, a behavior, a lingering doubt? Whatever it was, it clearly crossed a line for Taylor. And that's the beauty of it. She trusted her instincts. There's something empowering about watching a woman choose herself first, about watching her protect her peace, about watching her say, "This is my journey, and I will not compromise it." That energy sets the tone for everything that follows. Will more roses be in danger? Will unexpected connections blossom? Will one man rise above the rest by simply being real? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, this season of The Bachelorette won't be predictable. It won't follow the same script as seasons before it, and it certainly won't be boring. Taylor Frankie Paul is stepping into this chapter with humor in her smile, fire in her heart, and clarity in her decisions. She's not afraid to shake things up if it means getting closer to the love she truly wants. And maybe that's what makes this so exciting. Because when someone knows what they deserve, every rose handed out carries more meaning. Every conversation matters more. Every spark feels more intentional. So as viewers settle in to watch her journey unfold, one question lingers in the air. Will the man who earns her final rose be ready for a woman who refuses to settle? If her bold opening move is any indication, this love story will be anything but ordinary. And honestly, we wouldn't want it any other way. If you're excited to see how Taylor's journey unfolds and whether her fearless approach leads her to lasting love, make sure you stay tuned and join the conversation. Share your thoughts, your predictions, and the moments that make you smile the most. Because something tells us this season is going to give us plenty to talk about, and maybe even a love story worth believing in.
As the journey continues, the atmosphere inside the mansion begins to shift in subtle but powerful ways. After that unforgettable rose moment, the men realize something important. This isn't going to be a season where charm alone carries you through. With Taylor Frankie Paul at the center of it all, sincerity becomes the real currency. The next round of dates feels different. There's less posturing, less whispering in corners about strategy. Instead, there's nervous laughter, honest confessions, and long pauses where feelings are actually processed instead of performed. Taylor walks into each conversation with that same calm confidence. She listens closely. She watches body language. She pays attention to the little things, the way someone reacts when she talks about her children, the way they speak about commitment, the way their tone changes when things get serious. And when she smiles, it's genuine, not polite, not forced, genuine. One group date in particular brings out a new side of her. Instead of something flashy, it's surprisingly intimate, built around storytelling and vulnerability. The men are asked to open up about pivotal moments in their lives,
Some share stories about family, others about heartbreak, and a few about learning from past mistakes. Taylor doesn't interrupt. She doesn't judge, but she also doesn't let vague answers slide. When one contestant gives a surface-level response, she gently leans forward and asks a follow-up question that makes him pause. The room goes quiet. It's not uncomfortable. It's real. He takes a breath and finally opens up in a way he hadn't planned to. And that's when you see it, that spark. Not because he said something dramatic, but because he allowed himself to be seen. Romance begins building in quieter ways now. There's a slow dance during a private after-party that feels less like a performance and more like two people forgetting the cameras exist. There's laughter during a cooking date when Taylor jokingly teases a contestant for burning the sauce, and he responds by dramatically pretending to present her with a Michelin star anyway. Her sense of humor shines in these moments. She isn't overly serious all the time. She can be playful. She can be light. She can make fun of herself. At one point, she jokes about how chaotic her life can be as a mom of 3, laughing as she describes mornings that start with spilled cereal and missing shoes. Instead of being intimidated, one contestant grins and says, "Sounds like a team effort waiting to happen." And for a brief second, Taylor's expression softens in a way viewers haven't seen before. Because that's what she's looking for, someone who doesn't just accept her life, but wants to step into it. Of course, tension still simmers beneath the surface. A few contestants begin to worry that her strong personality might mean they have to constantly prove themselves. One even admits during a confessional that he's not used to dating someone so decisive. But that's the point. Taylor doesn't need someone to control her. She needs someone steady enough to stand beside her. Another rose ceremony approaches, and the energy feels electric. No one is entirely safe anymore. The earlier rose incident made that clear. As Taylor holds the bouquet, there's a quiet understanding in the room that every rose handed out is intentional, and every rose withheld is meaningful. When she calls out names, her voice is steady. When she pauses, hearts race. One contestant who seemed confident earlier in the week suddenly looks unsure. He senses distance. Their last conversation didn't quite land the way he hoped. When the final rose is offered and his name isn't called, Taylor walks him out with compassion. She explains that while she admires many things about him, her heart is guiding her elsewhere. There are no raised voices, no dramatic accusations, just honesty. And somehow that feels more powerful than any argument could. As the weeks unfold, deeper connections begin forming. There's one man who consistently makes her laugh, not with rehearsed jokes, but with quick wit and genuine reactions. There's another who connects with her on an emotional level, speaking openly about the kind of partnership he envisions. But there's also mystery. One relationship begins quietly, almost under the radar. Their chemistry isn't loud, but it's magnetic. During a candlelit dinner date, the conversation flows effortlessly. They talk about fears, about second chances, about what forever really means when you've already experienced real life. At one point, he reaches across the table, not dramatically, just naturally, and brushes his fingers against hers. Taylor doesn't pull away. She smiles. It's subtle, but it's everything. Back at the mansion, the remaining men can feel the shift. This isn't just about competition anymore. Real feelings are developing, and when feelings get involved, stakes rise. Yet Taylor remains grounded. She reminds everyone, and herself, that this journey is about clarity, about finding someone who aligns with her values, about choosing a partner who understands that love isn't just grand gestures and romantic speeches. It's patience, it's teamwork, it's showing up on ordinary days. In a quiet confessional moment, she reflects on how far she's come in her personal life. She talks about growth, about learning from mistakes, about becoming stronger through challenges. And then she says something simple but powerful. She wants a love that feels peaceful. Not chaotic, not confusing, peaceful. That statement alone reframes the entire season, because now viewers aren't just watching for dramatic twists, they're watching to see who can offer her that sense of calm strength. As hometown dates begin approaching, anticipation builds even more. Meeting families will add another layer of reality. Conversations will become deeper. Questions will become harder. Can you handle her world? Can you support her role as a mother? Can you be a partner, not just a fiancé? The fairy tale fantasy begins blending with real-life expectations, and somehow that makes it even more romantic. Because true romance isn't about perfection, it's about choosing each other fully, flaws, responsibilities, and all. By now, it's clear that Taylor Frankie Paul isn't just leading a season of The Bachelorette, she's redefining what it looks like to be in control of your own love story. She laughs loudly, she speaks honestly, she protects her heart fiercely, and when she hands out a rose now, it feels earned. As the journey continues towards its emotional finale, one question grows stronger. Will someone rise to meet her strength with equal steadiness? If these moments are any indication, this love story is building towards something heartfelt, passionate, and beautifully real. And viewers can't look away, because whether it ends in an engagement, a promise, or simply clarity, one thing is certain. Taylor Frankie Paul is proving that when you know your worth, love becomes less about chasing and more about choosing. And that choice is what makes every rose, every smile, and every whispered conversation matter just a little bit more.